Κυρίες και κύριοι, αγαπητοί φίλοι, σας
Ladies
καλωσορίζω στην προκατακτική διαβούλευση για το έργο Κλίμα Borough.
about Clima Borough.
Σήμερα συμβάλλοντας στο διάλογο και την εξέλιξη αυτής της κρίσιμης πρωτοβουλίας. Το έργο Κλίμα Borough αντιπροσωπεύει μια συλλογική προσπάθεια για την αντιμετώπιση της παγκόσμιας πρόκλησης της κλιματικής αλλαγής.
Challenges climate change.
Αποφασισμένοι να επιτύχουμε μια βιώσιμη μετάβαση προς έναν κόσμο χαμηλών εκπομπών
A
άνθρακα και να
transition of low emission
για
of
τις μελλοντικές γενιές.
protect the environment for
Η
next
ενεργή συμμετοχή σας σε αυτή την
generation.
εκδήλωση
Rapid
προκαταρκτικής διαβούλευσης
participation
αποτελεί
in
απόδειξη της
the
αφοσίωσης σας
preliminary
στην κοινή μας
meeting
αποστολή.
is
Οι προτάσεις και οι σκέψεις σας είναι πολύτιμες,
commitment to
καθώς
our mission.
κατευθύνουμε το μέλλον του
Your
έργου Κλίμα
feedback,
Borough.
your ideas
Ας
are very
εκμεταλλευτούμε
useful.
αυτή την ευκαιρία για να ανταλλάξουμε
Must be
ιδέες, να δημιουργήσουμε
opportunity to
συνεργασίες
exchange
και να
ideas, to
δημιουργήσουμε ένα
create
κοινό μέλλον.
collaboration,
Η
and
σημερινή μας
create
εκδήλωση
common
στοχεύει στα εξής.
the
Να
aim of this
επικοινωνήσουμε το έργο
meeting
Κλίμα Borough στην
is to
επιχειρηματική και
introduce the
στην
Clima Borough
ερευνητική και
project in
ακαδημαϊκή
the
κοινότητα.
entrepreneurial
Να παρουσιάσουμε την
ecosystem,
πρόκληση της πόλης
present
μας στα
our
πλαίσια του
challenge
έργου.
and vision
Να
in
ενημερώσουμε
the
τους
framework of the
ενδιαφερόμενους
project,
για
to
τη διαγωνιστική
communicate
διαδικασία
the,
σχετικά με την
the
ανάλυση
operational
κρίσεων που θα απαντούν στην πρόκληση.
context of the
Για να
globe,
αναπτύξουμε έναν γόνιμο διάλογο,
the
να
investor
λάβουμε
insights, the
ανατροφοδότηση
state
και
of
να
the art of
αναδιαμορφώσουμε μαζί την
technologies
πρόκληση.
and ongoing service
Σε αυτό
development.
το σημείο θα θέλαμε να
The
τονίσουμε ότι
dialogue
ως
and
κύριο στόχο αυτής της
solutions
προκαταρκτικής
and reach with
διαβούλευσης
concrete
έχουμε το να
stakeholder
ακούσουμε
feedback.
ιδέες, λύσεις και
We,
προτάσεις από εσάς.
we are open to your
Δυστυχώς ο
ideas
αρμόδιος αντιδήμαρχος κύριος Αρλέτος για
are
εκτενούς
letters
προσωπικούς
for
λόγους δεν μπόρεσε να
personal
παρευρεθεί στη
reasons of
σημερινή μας
not here
εκδήλωση.
with us today.
Οπότε, εν συντομία,
So
το πρόγραμμα της σημερινής
the
εκδήλωσης
program
έχει
of
ως
our
εξής.
meeting, the agenda is as
Θα
follows.
γίνει παρουσίαση του έργου
The
Κλίμα Borough από τον
presentation of the
συντονιστή του
Clima
έργου, του
project by
επικεφαλής
the
εταίρου κύριο
coordinator,
Ματέο Σάτα.
Mr. Matteo
Στη
Sata.
συνέχεια, παρουσίαση της πρόκλησης της
With
πόλης στα
the
πλαίσια του έργου
presentation
Κλίμα
of the
Borough
50
από την
challenge
κυρία Χριστίνα
framework
Καλογύρου
of
και μετά από την
Clima
παρουσίαση
Borough
αυτή θα
project.
υπάρχει χρόνος για ερωτήσεις.
And then we'll have
Θα
time for
συνεχίσουμε με
questions and
παρουσίαση της
we
διαγωνιστικής
go on
διαδικασίας από
to
τον αρμόδιο
present
υπεύθυνο κύριο Μολυνάρη,
the
μετά
procurement
τον οποίο θα υπάρχει
mechanism
χρόνος
by
για
Mr.
ερωτήσεις,
Francesco
συζήτηση, αλλά
Molinari,
και την παρουσίαση προτάσεων
followed by
από
a
επιχειρήσεις.
Q&A session
Σας
and
ευχαριστούμε
presentation
θερμά
of
και πάλι για τη
proposals by any company
συμμετοχή σας σήμερα.
who wish
Δίνω
to
το
present
λόγο
their ideas.
στον Ματέο
Thanks
Σάτα.
for your presence
Matteo, can you hear me
today.
now?
I'll give the floor to Mr. Matteo Sata.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Anna, we heard you very well. Only one thing also in the chat was mentioned, and the other is true. Maria, pay attention because at the end it was a bit better, but the English translation didn't get very well to us. There was like a problem, microphone problem, I guess. But let's pay attention to that.
Maria, Matteo is too polite. We couldn't hear anything. So try to change the microphone because the microphone didn't work. I couldn't hear anything of your translation. Sorry, but Matteo is too polite.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Now
No?
it is perfect.
Yeah, that we hear you.
Now it is perfect.
Okay.
So stay like this because, okay, we missed the presentation. I cannot ask Anna to do
No,
it
third time since too
but
much to me.
from now on, please stay close to the microphone as you are now. Thank you.
Okay, I guess it's to me. I share my screen. I'll give you a short introduction to our project. I don't want to lose too much time on that because let's say that I think the most important is to move on the real part of this project, of this public procurement, explaining what it is, the challenge of Ioannina. I think should be there the focus, but it's fine to I'll then make a short introduction of the project. I'd like to thank the whole city of Ioannina for this meeting, for organizing this, and also because we have really a lot of registration, which is very nice to see. It's very nice to see. I'll try to share my screen if I can. Here we go. Do you see my presentation?
Now,
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Now, then I'll really talk a few minutes about Clamaboro. Clamaboro is a project that, I mean, Ioannina knows very well, as it's one of them, of the mission of the climate neutral and smart cities mission, then the ones that selected 112 cities. And as you know, as you probably know, it's divided into sections, let's say. The first one is about the cities that receive some help or some support in with their climate strategy. At the same time, there is a second part that is allowing to fund some projects in some strategic fields. One of them is urban planning and design, which we are part of. And it's a project that overall has a funding for 11 million and partly 11.4 million of budget. This project is, if I can, okay, sorry, about the partnership. It's about 28 partners and 14 cities. You have the first row above, in which you can see our small but rich R&D core with a lot of competencies from climate neutrality to urban planning, climate services to design, and the second row you see the IT part. And then we have city specialists, and then we go to cities. We have a lot, we have 14, including also 2 cities agencies that are with us. You see them here. You see that we cover a lot of countries around Europe. And in particular, we have a division in what we can consider mostly 2 groups. The first one are leaders, of which Ioannina is part of. And then we have like the followers. And the followers are with observers. The observers, we consider them there because they can somehow switch to followers if necessary. Okay. The group of followers is a group of cities that are mostly in Eastern Europe, as you see, and that hope to be able to repeat what the leader city will be doing now. Then now we have the leaders that will be working on this procurement and actual pilots later, and the followers are supposed to repeat the same scheme. Now, why this project? This project because, I mean, as now I think all of us know, we have like cities are a small piece of land, but represent most of the greenhouse gases, which is complicated to handle. And let's say that instead of thinking of the city as an issue, let's say, because it should appear like this, we think that it's more a solution. It says finding a solution in city would mostly solve most of the problem. But solving this with cities is not enough, because we need also the citizens, we need the people, we need some behavioral change. And then what concretely does this project? It works on an idea that we don't need, or at least not for now, more technology. We need to a better use of the existing technology and also mixing it up. That's why we call this somehow circular technology because we need to exploit everything we have in a more also strategic, in more comprehensive way. And we need then to approach cities and the market, making that cities can exploit better what is available. And also, why not startups, or the world of economical work, can be more supported, can support more the cities. About the urban planning part, we are more on I mean, let's talk about digitalization, or at least improvement, making less old what we have. As you see, Malfalda here is not very happy looking at traditional way of doing the planning, while it can actually be happy while we have other tools, or then the use of data, use of digital solutions, to improve it and also to reduce silos that today exist and are part of the game. But how climate neutrality, urban planning are related to behavioral change? How these three collaborate, or let's say collaborate, they talk to each other. How does this work? And this is what we somehow want to find out in this 4 years project. Now, getting to the end, just to show you quickly the scheme of the project. We have divided somehow the cities in two groups that communicate to each other, to be very clear, but they're divided by arguments. Let's say energy and mobility on one side, waste and circularity on the other. Why? Because those two are somehow, we try to match. These are 4 out of the 6 categories that, or fields that were highlighted or defined by the mission. And they're the ones that are more for us, they were more approachable. At the same time, we divided in these two groups because obviously talking about putting energy and circularity in the same slot is not very interesting. And these two groups are often connected to the project by 2 key partners that are city specialists that we call city angels. And then to define, I show you somehow to complete the city circle, let's say, what happens. Then you have the urban planning challenges definition. That means cities, and today we are at the end of this procedure, define their challenges, and you will be hearing the result of Ioannina up to now. And then we go to innovative procurement. And now here we're at the early beginning, in which we have these primary market consultations, in which also you can support the definition of the procurement. And Francesco will explain better later on. Then once the procurement that will be out in the autumn will be done and we will have winners, there will be the deployment of the solutions. And then the following evaluation from obviously a climatic point of view, carbon point of view, and then with the results in our hands, leader cities will support to mentor the other cities, the ones that earlier I mentioned as followers, to make sure that they can replicate, and they can start all this all over again and all over again, hopefully later on. I think this was my last slide. Obviously, you can, and I actually invite you to follow our social media and or to consult our website that you can see in this slide. Thank you very much. That's all from me.
Ματέο. Θα συνεχίσουμε με την παρουσίαση της
On with the presentation of the challenge by Mrs. Christina Kalogiru. Good morning, everyone. I will present the challenge, as Anna has already said, but before presenting you the challenge, I will say a few words about our city, for those of you who don't know it very well. The city of Ioannina has about 114,000 residents. It is located in the northwestern part of Greece. It is the largest city of the Epirus region. It is a large administrative center. It is built next to the Lake Mambotita, surrounded by a mountainous landscape and with an almost Mediterranean climate. With regard to the sectors of local economy, the main sector is a tertiary sector, administration, trade, and tourism. Then follows the secondary sector, mainly with dairy processing, food industry, silver work, and marble mining. And then the primary section with poultry production, sheep, and goat farming. It should be mentioned that we have a large university community in Ioannina that plays a highly significant role in the development and economy of the region. We have 25,000 students, 580 faculty members, 420 employees, and we aim at becoming a potential high-tech hub in the future. With regard to our city and its participation in the Climaboro project, our municipality is one of the 6 cities participating in the project 100 Neutral Climate and Smart Cities, has the opportunity within the context of this project to undertake, to provide solutions meeting one of the challenges that have to be met in order to become a climate neutral city by 2030. With regard to the second thematic part of the project concerning the transition from waste to circularity, our city will participate, will receive proposals for 2 solutions with a budget of approximately 143,000. The main challenge is the following. We believe that our lake, along with the lakeside area, is, let us say, a greenhouse gas production plant. Why? First of all, because the water body itself, due to the effect of eutrophication, produces methane. Secondly, because the lake is a natural resource of the city, attracts and serves multiple activities and productive sectors such as tourism, catering, hospitality, leisure, sports, agriculture, etc. So it is understood that these activities compose a particular puzzle, not only in an urban, but also a semi-urban and peri-urban environment within the administrative territory of the municipality. All these activities have some negative effects on the ecosystem of the lake and of our city. And also they burden the phenomenon of eutrophication. For example, we have the fertilizers from crops, the irrigation, the increase of carbon dioxide due to the increased traffic of vehicles in the lakeside region, the lack of adoption of recycling practices or practices of reducing the food, practices that have not been adopted by the businesses of the area, for example, recycling or reducing the waste, the food waste. Also, we could add other issues, for example, the rainwater runoff that end up in the lake carrying debris, as well as some small settlements around the lake. Also, changes in the land uses during the last years, for example, the drying up, the desiccation of Lapsista Lake, the limitation of wet grasslands, the embankments, the warps that reduce the self-cleaning capacity of the lake. So, what are we aiming at? What do we actually need? We need more systematic, continuous, and thorough production of data sets in order to identify the gap existing and to estimate the carbon footprint, the greenhouse gas emissions, to monitor the environmental indicators, to identify the opportunities that we have. We need more knowledge. We need in order to succeed in this, everyone has to participate. All the members of the municipal community. We wanted to create a co-creation, the participation of everyone, a decision-making system with the participation of all local stakeholders. And also we want at least small pilot technological solutions that can be implemented with a budget that is provided right now, and later on to have the escalation of these, aiming, of course, at the protection of the lakes and the city's ecosystem. Some examples. So we can have the implementation of applications measuring the carbon footprint of residents, visitors, and businesses. These could be systems and applications that allow us to identify and analyze the carbon footprint of every entity, of every stakeholder. Implementations that raise the awareness of everyone through gamifications and environmental awareness raising, sensors, real-time monitoring of the quality of the air, the water, and the soil. And also socio-technical solutions, innovative solutions that in this case, within the context of this specific project, we would like them to take into account, to have a social dimension, I should say, that is to involve stakeholders. For example, also these solutions would be useful to be substitutes of solutions that are not easy to be implemented due to the need of large capital. For example, we could have some small constructions floatable on the lake with the appropriate vegetation and plants to contribute to the improvement of the quality of the water, or have them operating as substitutes of artificial wet grassland. Could we possibly have a system that would capture the nutrients contributing to the eutrophication of the lake or the sediments of the lake, and this be done within the context of circular economy and involve some enterprises of the local market? We have some initial ideas, but we also look forward to listening to your proposals so that today and throughout this consultation to end up in a more specific challenge and see what is available, what is the state of our technology right now in the market to take advantage of. And I think this is what I wanted to say. We can to having a session open for discussion, questions and answers and proposals before giving the floor to Francesco. I don't know if there are any questions from the audience about the challenges and the needs of the city. Is there anyone who would like to pose a question? Yes, please. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I am Sotiris Tsoukarelis from Psylla Vouna and from the Social Economy Association of Epirus. So we don't have something concrete here, so everything is open. Yes, it is quite open, always in the framework of diminishing CO2 footprints. But otherwise, it's open. Anybody? Good morning. Panagiotis Nitas. I am a member of the Organization of the Natural Environment and Climate Change of Epirus. Why do you focus to the ecosystem of the Lake Pamvotis, more specifically? But I do not, why do you focus on Pamvotis, on the lake, and not on the primary sector or the poultry sector, which is we concentrate more than 90% of the country's potential as far as the poultry is concerned. The primary sector contributes a lot to the production of CO2, which is a target group. For example, methane, the azote, and CO2. We do not focus to the lake itself. We take into consideration all the area of the lake and all factors that contribute to the pollution. Yes, okay, we are interested if you have a proposal of how we can diminish the impact of the primary sector activities to the pollution of the lake. So we can make measurements of the footprints of primary sector activities to the pollution of the lake. Something that must be relevant to the lake. So you must find something that must be relevant to the lake, something that aggravates the lake system. This is not a question. It is a continuation of what my colleague said. Christina, I am an architect, and I would like to make a comment, both with regarding the presentation. If we record the primary sector, as you said, especially in Ioannina, is something very impactful. I am from Athens. A person who is from here may know that may have a profession later on. If we record that we have some problems with pollutants, with farming pollutants, animal farming pollutants, how can we include them? Yes, poultry is very pollutant, but how can we take into consideration this? We can.
So what you said, each one of us has a footprint on the environment. So how will all this be organized? We don't want to limitate the activity itself, but we want to develop it as a new framework. For example, when measures for environmental protection are taken and all these efforts, the aim is not to tell them that you will not develop your poultry farming, but how we will not aggravate it and facilitate. And then we'll talk about towards orientation and direction, we can have corrective actions, plus raising the awareness of each entrepreneur, each businessman, because those who deal with livestock farming has a business. Yes, and then something with regard to the companies. How can it be confirmed that the company that will be willing to participate will be reassured about circular economy? This is one of the main aims. Francesco will talk about the procurement call mechanism and things will become more clear. But since we're talking, since the procedure itself of the consultation has an innovative character, so there is room for discussion and dialogue in order to build up together the degree of innovation and to which extent we will intervene to this cycle of circular economy. Thank you. The monitoring along with the following stage. That is that first we have the monitoring and then we'll talk about some interventions. Well, you will talk about this later on, from what I understand, but obviously there has to be a continuation. We monitor this and we do what has an immediate effect. So we had told the municipality, the town hall, within the context of a water jet with sensors application in Konica, and we had presented this and we sent invitations to the town hall so that we can enter such a procedure, that is to create the tools, the monitoring tools for the lake data. And I think that we could see a local construction, and that is what we would like to have, to see a local construction of these tools so that we don't have addition to the carbon footprint, particularly when we talk about an environmental action. So that is why I posed the first question, that is, if we know exactly what specifically we want to monitor, because we ourselves need to see in the following stage what will be done with the sensors that will be integrated in the procedure. Thank you very much. Any other questions from the room? Yes. Thank you very much for this excellent initiative of yours. For someone who is not an engineer or an expert, what example climate neutral means and smart cities? In my mind, it means we diminish all vehicles and plastic materials, but probably this is not. We cannot fully eliminate them, but we can become more alternative. That is to limitate things and have alternative solutions. Climate neutrality is the ideal, of course. Can I answer, please? Yes. Climate net zero city, climate neutrality aims at balancing, not of course, can never have a zero emission because we will all have vehicles and cars. But the aim of climate neutrality is to have a balance, an equilibrium of the balance as much as possible. And that's why all these projects, such as Climaboro, aims at contributing to this mission. This is the concept in general. Yes, please. Good morning. I'm Christina Priavolu. I am a postgraduate student and I'm a member of a research group in Ioannina, the Pital Lab, dealing with open technologies. I would like to ask about what you said about climate neutrality. Since many times when talking about climate neutral cities, very often the environmental footprint is not taken into account. And usually we talk about how a technology is constructed. It is conveyed to another city, and we may talk about maybe Ioannina will become a climate neutral city, but another city in another part of the world has a problem. So we convey the problem, we transfer the problem somewhere else. So do you have any idea how we could include the entire cycle? This specific project cannot deal with such a great scope. This has been undertaken by the large mission of the European Union, including all cities that are want to become climate neutral. So the provision will come from there. We, as a small city, the city of Ioannina, we will do our best and not to burden, of course, our neighboring municipality. But this is an overall problem. I think today we want to listen to what you have to say so that we can move on to the next stages of the procedure of Climaboro and see how we move on. Are there any questions from the Zoom participants? Could I please say something? Thank you. Filipidou Lisa from DonSoft. A question about the procedure. It has been mentioned that solutions should concern the assessment of carbon footprint, digitalization, etc. Do we want this solution that we propose or the chosen solutions to include all these elements, or will there be different topics on which the solution will be focused? Will there be an exhaustive list of characteristic elements, or will there be different separated activities? I believe both could happen. We could have an initial implementation application that could include more later on. And is it important that one solution that includes more of the topics will be evaluated in a more positive way? Is this a criteria, an evaluation criteria? I can't answer to this question for sure, because it is a comparative procedure according to the proposals we will receive. So we don't have the final criteria. Yes, exactly. Once we receive the proposals, then we will set the criteria. Anyone else? Good morning. Haris Moisiadis, we can't hear you very well. Haris, I am from a telecommunication company that has a seat, a branch office in Ioannina. Thank you very much for the invitation. As Ioannina citizens, we are honored to participating in such a project. I would like to give you some feedback since I followed the PCM in Turin. The question I would like to pose is are there some limitations about the proposals we can make? Are there some limitations for stakeholders participating in the consortium? I think Francesco will answer later on. I think it can be a consortium. I don't think there are limitations in the number of participants. In Turin, it was heard that a consortium or a potential technology provider is encouraged to submit more than one proposal for the cities participating in your project, right? Yes, but this is not, doesn't work in a reverse way. For example, if can one propose more, submit more than one proposal? This is something I haven't understood. Is there a limitation? Is it a factor of limitation for the evaluation? I don't think if I am clear. These evaluation criteria are not yet clear. I think Francesco will later on comment on your question when he gets the floor to talk about the procedure. Thank you.
Anybody else? Christina, I think that after the presentation by Francesco, who will present the procurement procedure, I think that many of these questions will be solved. If you don't have any questions on the challenge itself, we may continue. We may go on with Francesco Molinari's presentation. Francesco?
Yes. Can you hear me fine?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Now you should start seeing my screen. I'm putting my presentation in full screen. Now you should also see the changes of the slide.
Yes, we can see the slides.
Okay, so I will start by say good morning again to everyone. Thanks to the city of Ioannina for making this event possible. I think it is very beautifully organized until today, and there is also a good feedback from the audience, which I welcome also at the end of my presentation, and not only on the contents of my presentation, but also back to the contents of the challenge posed by the city, by Cristina, and which I hope will become clearer after this introduction to the procedure. What is very important to bear in mind is that this is not an ordinary workshop. It is part of a procurement procedure. And the name already explains, in my opinion, the title, which is the name of a technical instrument, preliminary market consultation. I believe this should already start sending the clear message we are trying to channel to all of you, that we are in a listening mode. It's obviously a new thing. I can tell you this is the first time that 8 European cities at the same time do in parallel events like this during the month of July in preparation for a call for tender, which is quite unique in the scenario of European procurement at the moment. Although it is perfectly legal, and I will mention in one of my next slides all the references to the legal framework within which we are operating. But this is a consultation. So many of the questions I heard, apart from those on the procedure, which I will try to answer, questions regarding the specific direction of the call, which I agree with you, was not clearly presented by Cristina in her presentation. This is perfectly acceptable, and it was done on purpose, because the reality of things is that we would like to hear from you, seated in the room, seated in the virtual room of this consultation, whether there are solutions in the state of the art which have the potential of solving, maybe it's too much, let's say starting to solve or to fulfill one of the challenges, one of the elements of the big challenge presented this morning. So all the discussion about poultry, about plastics, about people with different roles, tourists rather than residents, all these elements and many others that I am forgetting right now should be turned from questions into suggestions. This is exactly the purpose of today's event. And as I will tell you, there will be an open window of opportunity for all of you until the end of July to send us written contributions so that we can refine the strategic direction of this call for tender in a way that is manageable, sustainable, and of reciprocal satisfaction for both the City Hall and the participants. So the solutions we would like to hear about, we know already that we should be prepared to something that is not a product or service already established in the market. And I am saying this because of the peculiar nature of the challenge presented today, and also because of the fact that it is located in a very peculiar environment, the lake, the island, it's extremely unlikely, in my opinion, that we can find around solutions with a TRL technology readiness level, which is the indicator measuring the maturity of a solution, a technological solution of 9 or close to 9, which means already available on the market. Personally, I am aware of previous research and innovation projects where experiments of calculation of the carbon footprint of communities have been carried out. For example, I have in mind a project funded by the Interreg Med program, in the previous programming period, 2014-2020, which was about calculating the carbon footprint of the schools. And I think the title of the project was Edu Footprint, Educational Footprint. And I remember, because I was to some extent assessing that project, I remember that it was not banal, it was not trivial to collect a battery of indicators to be contained in an application giving an answer to the question whether the school XYZ has a certain carbon footprint or not. For sure, solutions like the one I'm quoting do not have the TRL level of 9, but they may still be mature enough to be tested and deployed for real in the context of the city and the pilot site identified by the city of Ioannina. This will be done in the context of a call for tender, which, as it was already mentioned, has a budget of about 300,000 euros. And another important remark is that there will be not a simple one, not a single one, but there will be 2 distinct winners for this call for tender. This is something that also explains our attitude of being open to multiple possible ways of solving or helping to solve the challenge presented today. These multiple ways of solving the challenge can become 2 distinct pathways that have no communication between each other. And therefore, I take as a matter of reflection the last question received this morning from Harris, if I remember correctly, who was asking whether there would be the possibility of for a single organization to present more than one proposal to this call. It is a difficult answer. At the moment, our approach is to say no, to reply no, in the sense that this call already gives the opportunity to participants to present several proposals, to meet several challenges which form this sort of package composed of 8 cities, each of them with a challenge, each of them with the same share in the budget of the call, and each of them ready to award 2 distinct proposals. That makes 16 winners overall, and the same organization, we know already that will have the possibility of being featured more than just one time in this list of 16 winners. What is at the moment not foreseen is the possibility of a winner that takes it all in the city of Ioannina or in another city of this list. And the reason for that is to keep the requirement of diversity. we wouldn't be satisfied enough if two diverse solutions were proposed by the same player, because that would be a sort of limitation to the competition, which we think we could, on the other hand, give another push to, if we don't allow the same organization to classify first and second in the ranking, but we superimpose that there can only be one single proposal per each of these eight challenges. On the other hand, to complete the answer to the previous question, we are open to any possible composition of the candidates presenting applications to the call. We are open to private enterprises, SMEs, startup entrepreneurs. We are open to research institutions. We are open also to consortia being composed by all these players and other players, including consortia bringing results from previous activities, research projects, even patents, if this makes sense, and the IPR of the bidders will be specially protected by the rules of our call in a way that will become clearer in my next slides. The call for tender will be published in September, at the end of September, and it will have the 8 cities as 8 lots of the same call, each with the same budget of a bit less than 300,000 euros. Based on your comments, based on what you will be telling us as suggestions, we will reflect on what comes out of today's event and also the received contributions in the coming days to define the exact profile of the solution we are looking for, the solutions in the plural we are looking for in the city of Ioannina. And we are, believe me, totally agnostic on the nature of these solutions. Although we can speculate that there can be 5 main elements of the winning solutions, which is good to summarize at this stage of our reflection. The first element of the solution is that it has to be fitting the perimeter of the challenge. The perimeter of the challenge is broad enough, is very broad, I could add, as many of you have noted, but this is not bad. We are open to multiple solutions, tackling the same problem in different ways and proposing different approaches and different contributions, of course, not to solve the entirety of the challenge, but to position the city hall on the right direction to increase their compliance with the requirements of a climate-neutral city. The second element was also emphasized by Matteo, the coordinator of this project, in his presentation. It is this recourse to the contribution of people. We sincerely believe that a technological solution that only deals with, for example, data management and data visualization would not meet the objective of this call in full. We have to figure out ways to involve people and people's behaviors, trying also to accelerate the processes that we aim at igniting or reinforcing, also thanks to the results of this call for tender. Processes of increasing compliance with the carbon neutrality principles, or if you prefer so, processes of decreasing emphasis and contribution of the existing economic and human activities to the production of CO2 in the area. Another feature or constraint is that they cannot be very expensive solutions given the budget that we have for this coal in Ioannina and in the other 7 cities. But the good news is that if anything works well here, there will be additional opportunities for the winners to reiterate their submission and get additional opportunities to deploy their solutions both within and outside the administrative borders of the city of Ioannina. This concept, which was also emphasized by Matteo in his introduction when he spoke about circularity of solutions on top of circularity of the economy and so on. It's here, this concept is featured by these 2 last elements, the scalability and the transferability of the solution. We believe that we are convinced that the low cost of the solution we envisage and the low budget available will not allow large-scale experimentations. So we would be happy to hear from you also what kind of limitations should be given to the scope of the experimentation, the geographical localization of the experimentation, the thematic definition of the experimentation, in order to stay within the budget with reciprocal satisfaction. But this does not mean that in case the experiment is successful, there cannot be a follow-up. Scalability here means that the City Hall will be ready to take it up, to take the results of the experimentation up in a follow-up call for tender, which will most likely have a broader localization in terms of topic, scope, geographical location, and so on. The other element, which was exactly the concept of circularity presented by Matteo before, is that there is no compelling reason, in our view, for a solution that works well in the city of Ioannina to work well also in other cities. And this is what we promise to you already within the timeline of the Climate Borough project, which goes until the end of the year to 2026, so plenty of time there. We will reiterate this experiment, and the winners of the first round will have, in ways to be defined, the opportunity of candidating themselves to other pilots, not to mention the opportunity given by our dissemination activities as a project. We are already in touch with the European community of procurers, and so there can be good news for the winners, also in terms of possibility of transferring the solution to another context. So to summarize, today we have started to discuss the city challenge, and we would like to hear from you whether there are any solutions in the state of the art, like the one that I mentioned from the Edu Footprint project, which could be adapted to some extent and help the City Hall define in more detail the strategic direction of the call. I already mentioned that this is legal, but I want to explain why it is legal. Because we are ensuring the full transparency of the entire proceeding. My personal obsession with the recording, with the good translation of my words, the words of the previous speakers, is justified, I hope, by the fact that everyone participating in this session today or not making it in time will have the opportunity to access our website, climaboro.eu, where there is already a dedicated section to this challenge and the challenge presented today in the city of Ioannina and so on, to download the file with the proceeding of today's event. And this file will be available until the call for tender is published, but it will be especially useful until the end of the month of July. Why? Because from the same website, you can already download a template, which is composed of only 3 pages. This template can be used by anyone to send us written contributions to the challenge in terms of which solutions should be prioritized hypothetically in the new call for tender. The contributions will be received, will be evaluated by one, and they will be published on the website. For this reason, we ask you to tick if there are any sections of the application of the template which are covered by confidentiality, business confidentiality concerns. We will drop that part from the template and only publish the remaining sections. Once we have received all these contributions, not only from you, but also from the participants in the other 7 preliminary market consultations, we will close the book and start writing the call. The call will be indicatively published until the end of September. It will take stock, as I said, of today's discussion and the next days events like contributions received, but it will be autonomously designed by us. Us means ANCI Toscana. ANCI Toscana is the association gathering all the municipalities that operate in the region of Tuscany in Italy. There are about 380 municipalities in the region, and this is the association that gathers them all. It is also the coordinating entity of the Climaboro project, which provides the finance for the budget of this call. The call will allow sufficient time in our expectations to prepare a proposal, and there will be an extra allowance of time next year in a way that I will explain with another slide. Indicatively, we expect to sign the 16 procurement contracts, 2 of which coming from the city of Ioannina, before the end of June next year, and define the amount of the advance payment which will be paid to the winners according to a rule of behavior which ANCI Toscana has always adopted in situations like this. The legal framework, I already mentioned many times that all of this is legal. We are acting in full transparency. As you can see from the bottom of the slide, the announcement of this consultation was published already in early June on TED, the supplement of the official Gazette of the European Union dedicated to public procurement. The call itself, the call for tender, will be published on TED. And in this slide, you can see the references to specific articles of the European Union's directive on procurement, which was approved in 2014 by the European Parliament. And since then, it has been adopted in the national legislations of all the member states, including Greece and Italy. According to this legal framework, we are entitled as ANCI Toscana to act on behalf of all the 8 cities, which I will mention in my last slides. We are entitled to run this preliminary market consultation in this way. Reading the article will give you extra information on the compliance to the law that we are desperately trying to keep all along the procedure. And in case of any other curiosity, we have also prepared a long list of questions and answers that you can find by hitting the link that is shown here. And if you have additional questions, feel free to send them to us. We will be happy to answer to you in private, but at the same time, we will publish the question and answer on the link here to keep the full transparency, again, of the information distributed to all potential candidates to our call. The call will use a specific instrument for procurement, which is named Innovation Partnership. This is also regulated by the directive on procurement, and it has a special value for us because, for example, and it's not by chance that we chose it, it enables more than one winner. And there is another advantage from the innovation partnership procedure, which I will explain to you very shortly. So where do we stand now? The city of Ioannina has presented the priorities of their climate policy and an outline of the challenge as they see it now. This is the framework for the innovation procurement and the framework for today's preliminary market consultation. But we are open to discuss with you the features and the constraints of the solutions which have the best potential of meeting the challenge in order to refine the call requirements, which I agree with you are very vague at the moment, including the evaluation criteria, which, as Christina rightly said, do not exist at the moment. They do not exist because the call itself does not exist. We haven't yet started drafting it, but it's also a challenge from the drafting perspective of the call to keep into account the diversity of the 8 pilot cities, which have to be considered distinct because they have distinct challenges, but at the same time, we have to find a common way of evaluating the compliance of received solutions to the details of the challenge because the call for tender will be unique, will be single, and there will be no differentiation between evaluation criteria in this or that other city. The focal points, which were already evident from the presentations done by Anna and Christina, and also in the speech of Matteo, the focal points of these solutions are related to 3 main elements: data, people, and technology. From the data point of view, I expect suggestions and proposals on identifying critical data sets which may be the object of the experimentation. These can be existing or new data sets sourced by public or private entities, or maybe the people themselves, to be stored in new platforms, existing platforms, open or closed. and the role of citizens and stakeholders in generating or using those data sets should become more and more clear in the interaction that I expect for the time being. Technologies, Christina and Anna already made references to this, can be manifold. These are examples. For sure, we are in the family of the so-called climate services, which are more or less decision support systems, helping decision makers, including normal people, lay people, to take informed decisions on climate-related topics. But it can also be about citizen science if we decide to go for data gathered by the citizens themselves. It can include gamification aspects. We should reflect on the interoperability between the newly developed applications and data sets and the existing ERP systems of the administration. And then there can be aspects which will be for sure mentioned in the call for tender, aspects of compliance with the legal and ethical framework we are all bound to observe. But on the other hand, as the word sandbox shows, we are also open to lifting some of the elements of the framework, the legal framework especially, to facilitate some kind of experimentation that may bring with it not only the successful deployment of a technological solution, but also the suggestion on changes to be made to the existing legal or regulatory system in order to make the deployment of that solution sustainable over time. Okay, let me finish by explaining to you better why we chose the innovation partnership as an instrument. You should read this slide from left to right. Imagine we are at the date when the call for tender will have its deadline. At that date, we will be receiving offers from a certain number of independent bidders. What normally happens in calls for tender is that each bidder is expected to provide a technical bid and a price, a financial offer indicating at which price the contents of the technical bid will be delivered. This is not what we are expecting from you. What we will be expecting from you is just a description of the solution that you will propose to us. Of course, you will already know that the 5 elements I described earlier, including the cost of that solution, should be respected. Otherwise, you are running the risk, for example, of delivering something with a loss, with a financial loss for you. But the solutions can be and must be presented without a price associated to them. Why? Because we wanted to give you an extra chance of adjusting the contents of the technical offer according to the specific needs of the city of Ioannina. And we will do that through a process that we name negotiation, which will be done, as the slide shows, individually, one by one, with the bidders that have presented a proposal. There will be, in that case, the opposite of transparency. There will be full protection of confidentiality, and so no participant will get to know about the contents of the other technical bids. But what will happen during the negotiation is that every invited bidder will be asked to make changes to the contents of the bid both to increase and to decrease the presence of some aspects which can be respectively of high value, high relevance, and of no interest for the administration. In other words, we will help you adjust the structure and the contents of your technical proposal to the specific aims and objectives of the city of Ioannina, leaving the last word to you, whether you would like to take the suggestions of increasing the delivery, augmenting the delivery, and at the same time, as a return for that, giving to you the opportunity of dropping some aspects of your proposal which are not interesting for us. The result will be that once we are done with all the negotiations, we will ask you to reiterate your technical proposal, this time accompanied by a price. From that moment on, we will start evaluating all the received proposals using the criteria that is known in the procurement jargon as the meet principle, based on the most economically advantageous tender, which means in practice the best quality to price ratio according to the evaluation criteria stated in the call. The result will be that two proposals will be awarded, and the remaining ones will not. I am closing my presentation. I just wanted to mention the names of the other 8 cities. Then, if time allows, Matteo will come back with more details. But this is to tell you that you can go to the Clamaboro website and find additional information on, for example, these 4 cities, Sofia, Grenoble, Athens, and Differdange. Only Differdange has to celebrate their own preliminary market consultation next week, but the proceedings of the first 3 of them are already available on the website of the project. Same goes for the other cluster of cities where Ioannina, to which Ioannina belongs. Again, Maribor in this case will be featured next week. The other 2 before Ioannina already did their own preliminary market consultation. I am done. I hope I was clear enough. Sorry if I've been too long. I'm open to your questions during this event, and you can always contact us at your ease after the end of today's consultation. Thank you, and I give the floor back to Cristina.
Thank you, Francesco. Ακολουθούν ερωτήσεις, συζητήσεις, παρουσιάσεις.
Thank you, Francesco. Then the floor is yours. We are open to your proposals.
Αν υπάρχουν ερωτήσεις από το Zoom για τον Francesco.
Are there any questions for Francesco?
Yes, hello. Do you hear me clearly?
Yes.
My name is Marina Dimitriou. I
Το
represent.
όνομά μου είναι Μαρία Δημητρίου.
We're all about air quality.
Εμείς ασχολούμαστε με την ποιότητα του αέρα και έχουμε μικροσταθμούς που μπορούν να μετρήσουν τους ρήπους και άλλους περιβαλλοντικούς παράγοντες. Αλλά σχετικά με την απεικόνιση, με την οπτικοποίηση των δεδομένων και την επίπτωση των ανθρωπογενών δραστηριοτήτων, χρησιμοποιούμε ένα σύστημα, όλα τα δεδομένα
advanced tools that can visualize all this data. But my question is, if we go down with a proposal for a solution, how many years we must put the system? This is my question, because we need the system to visualize the data and analyze them?
Yes, I think I can answer right away.
Νομίζω ότι μπορώ να απαντήσω.
I'm changing because I was in the other channel. I go back to the English channel to facilitate the
Για
translation.
να διευκολύνω τη μετάφραση θα πάω στο άλλο κανάλι.
It's a very good question.
Είναι πάρα πολύ καλή ερώτηση.
What I can tell you
Αυτό
is
που
that,
μπορώ να σας πω
there will be
είναι ότι
1 year
θα υπάρχει ένας χρόνος,
to do the
ένα έτος για την ανάπτυξη.
year for the contract. I can also add June 2025 for the finalization of the delivery. This means all included, and it's another good reason for asking solutions which are already relatively close to the market, because we do not have time enough to support research or experimentation that is too far from actual deployment. For sure, in the evaluation criteria, there will be a prioritization of the projects according to their needed timeline for the finalization of the experimentations. This is the reason why we haven't specified clearly a constraint in terms of, or an allowance in terms of time, because in practice, what we expect is to evaluate received contributions also in light of their feasibility in terms of needed time for deployment.
Thank you for your answer. But I have another question too. The system has many ways to be used, and it has the advanced system, which can also show from where the pollution is coming from. If we go down with the proposal, shall we put several options of the system so you can choose with a better budget and low cost?
Yes, if you open the template, which you can download from the website, you will realize that this is exactly the kind of information that you should give us, because it will help us define the size of the problem to a manageable level. It would be very useful to know that there are different ways of handling the problem, and that these ways are associated, for example, with different data sets to be considered, and maybe some pathways to achieve a solution are more demanding in terms of data sets, in terms of technological requirements or requirements of user engagement, while others are smoother under that perspective. This is the kind of information we would like to receive from the market in order to define the challenge, to downsize the challenge as it was presented today to a level that becomes acceptable for the participants in the call for tender, because it has a manageable size.
Thank you very much, and thank you for this opportunity. It was very nice to hear you all here and engage with you.
Thank you, Marina. Κάποιος άλλος? Anyone else?
Anybody else who would like?
We have Harris from the Zoom.
Thank you, Francesco. Thank you. So two questions. One is how important is for the whole project, and of course this also has an impact on the individual solutions for every city and every challenge. The availability of open or shared, at least, data. How important would that be for you? Considering the fact that challenges are a bit different in every city or in every group of cities. Would you prioritize solutions that address specific problems in the cities, or it would be an added value if these solutions also gave how can I say leave their footprint in terms of data for later uses, for later usages. I hope it's clear.
Yes, it's clear. I have two ways of answering. First way, all that you said is possible. That's one of the reasons why, apart from not allowing the same organization to present two proposals, we are welcoming different ideas, different pathways, because we don't know which direction can be more promising, in which direction the available technology is more mature. We don't know. We will certainly complement the information received until the end of July with a small state-of-the-art research, but this will be limited and a bit random because we are not experts in this domain. That's why we would welcome the contributions from you guys as experts of the domain. So the first way of answering is to let you be free of proposing any approach. On the other hand, if I were you, let's say so, I would ask the City Hall more about available data they may be in possession of, and data they would like to bring to them thanks to this experimentation. Don't worry, I will make the same question myself to the City Hall, and not only to the city of Ioannina, but also to the other 7 cities involved. So you will get more information on the data aspect in the call. And never forget, you will have the opportunity of clarifying any ambiguity during the negotiations. Personally, I believe the negotiations will be a lot about how the data flows will materialize, what kind of inputs and outputs will be involved in the pilot, and what ambitions are too high to be sustainable cost-wise and under maybe other perspectives. I don't know if I could answer to your question, Harris.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Francesco. And another one. Would you like to see the preferred solutions, let's say, have a direct impact on reducing carbon or increasing circularity? So would you like this to have some KPIs, for example, in June 2025, KPIs accomplished in June 2025, or this how can I say, this project, this mini sub project would be just the starting point of a long-lasting journey towards carbon neutrality and circularity. Thank you.
Yes, there was a comedian in Italy who passed away, who would say, it's always better to live long, and he died in the meantime, and be rich, that have a short life being poor. That's obviously the dream, but we have to be realistic. And realistic means that priority must be given to the 5 conditions I described in one of my first slides. Cost-effective solutions which constitute valid answers to the problem in the small, and with the potential to scale up and be transferable. In that sense, there will indeed be some KPIs associated to the delivery of the solutions. The whole mechanism we are using, the procurement mechanism, is other than financing a research project, no? Where you can say, okay, we used to have those objectives, but now at the end of our work, we have to realize that our objectives were overambitious. And so let's negotiate with the granting authority if we are still deserving being funded or not. The mechanism is different. It's a procurement mechanism. And therefore, if we agree on KPIs, the KPIs will be part of the solution delivered and paid for. In this sense, again, we will have to be realistic, because because of the budget limitation. But let me be optimistic that this is the size of the solutions we should look for. It would be too risky to set up financing systems of a multiple amount of money to reach the same goals. Let's see if it works in the little. And if it does, I think there will be good chances of scaling it up, scaling it out in the coming months and years, and also with additional financial support, which is our common intention to procure to the winners.
I understand your reaction. However, I'm not. I need to come back to this. My question is: do you need? Do you want from the applicants to have a procedure to measure the impact KPIs of their climate-friendly solution? So by the end of the project, we need to prove that, for example, the CO2 emissions were down by, 10% or something. Would you like this? Yeah.
Francesco, can I answer this? Maybe.
Please.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Harris, you will be obviously be requested to support the project on that. We have people working on that. They are working on that. We will also have a data platform or visualization, whatever, that takes the project as a whole. But obviously, as solution providers and data provider in this case, you will obviously need to support it, because you will for sure know the solution better than the project does. Does this answer to your question?
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest, but yeah, maybe.
Yeah, Yeah, but obviously we are giving you an answer. I'm sorry. We are giving you an answer without knowing your service. Okay, you probably have something in mind. We don't know it. That's probably the reason. But the point is that you will need to support us in defining the carbon neutrality of your service solution. I mean, this for sure.
Sure, a process as the project goes on to prove this. This is what you're saying.
Yeah, we will have 1 year and we will need to evaluate. I mean, let's say that this is something that we're still working on, but to give you a rough framework, once you will be starting working on the solution, I mean, there will be a first phase of the last 6 months that at the end we'll have like a few weeks of evaluation and then a second deployment that will be related to scale up. In this, then you have prototype evaluation again, and then at the end we do an evaluation again. I mean, obviously the evaluation should follow also day by day, and then obviously you will need to collaborate to that, because it's impossible for someone that doesn't manage the solution directly to evaluate its impact. You understand what I mean? I mean, the data, it's obviously you give the data, you say give you data, but honestly, who's driving the service every day needs to support. That's obvious.
Okay, thank you.
We have Demetris.
Yes, thank you. First of all, I wish to thank you for this event that is taking place. I think it's something new for municipality of Ioannina. So I wish to add a few comments on the discussion on Harry's questions. And if you could elaborate a little bit more. So are we discussing about end-to-end solutions? For example, I understand that on behalf of municipality of Ioannina, the challenge is related to Pambotis Lake. So this might involve different kind of data sets that might be needed, like air quality, water quality, etc. So at this point, we have no data. So if, let's say, there is a proposal for data collection and sustainable way of collecting data and ensuring the quality of the data, so as build on top of that further solutions, this could be something that is considerable for this kind of challenge, or we are discussing about how to say that, mini projects, end-to-end projects that at the end of the day might not have a simple, a great impact, but in collaboration with other activities, they could assist the greater goal for, the greater goal of this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Dimitris. No, the answer is the first that you mentioned. The solutions must be self-sufficient. Of course, they can be interoperable with the existing state-of-the-art systems and data sets if they exist. But in case these data sets do not exist, the solution may well incorporate a mechanism for collection which can allow to the application, for example, to achieve some goals. Let me make an example from another environment. There is in the state-of-the-art a certain number of apps which gives rewards to people, for example, for how many kilometers per day they are able to walk. The mechanism is bilateral and privacy protected between me and the application owner, but this generates daily data on how many kilometers I have been walking today. What is missing is a privacy compliant mechanism to sum up all the kilometers walked by people, for example, going to the lake or coming back to the lake, provided that this is a meaningful information. Of course, it's not related to the climate goal, at least I cannot find an immediate connection, but still it can be a way of providing a socio-technical solution that embeds the creation from scratch of a new data set, the number of kilometers walked by the people going back and forth to the lake or to the island in the middle of the lake, and offer to the city hall this data set with some knowledge, with some interpretation to generate decisions which may have to do with the number of taxis in that case, or boats, because you go to the lake, to the island by boat, and so on. So that's the kind of solutions we are looking for. If it is something that then it has to be given to someone else to finalize and so on, okay, at this stage I cannot say we will not accept them, but for sure there will be evaluation criteria giving priority to the first kind of solutions.
If I may add something more, I agree with what you said, but I think that the current situation is, for example, do we know right now what is the CO2 footprint of Ioannina, the municipality of Ioannina? I mean, I think we need to think a step backwards. Like at this point, what is the current status quo, the current state of regarding the current situation that we need to improve. So if there is a solution that at some point depicts the current situation, and then on top of that, we build solutions for improving and reaching our KPIs. I try to understand if such a proposal could be a candidate one for the Climaboro initiative.
I have my own opinion, but I don't know if Christina or Anna would like to answer on behalf of the City Hall.
Okay, αυτό που γνωρίζουμε για το αποτύπωμα της πόλης έχει να κάνει με την απογραφή. Η απογραφή έχει λάβει υπόψη όλες τις δραστηριότητες και όλες τις υποδομές της πόλης. Δημοτικά κτίρια, σχολεία, στατιστικά στοιχεία όμως, από ό,τι έχει να κάνει με τους ιδιώτες. Οπότε στην πραγματικότητα είναι ένας υπολογισμός βάσει δικτών. Αυτό που θέλουμε είναι να είναι ένας υπολογισμός βάσει πραγματικών δεδομένων. Δεν ξέρω αν αυτό απαντάει στην ερώτησή σου.
Κατανοητό. Αυτό ήθελα να διασφαλίσω περισσότερο. Αν στην ουσία μιλάμε για κάτι το οποίο θα μπορούσε να αποτυπώσει, όπως είπατε, την πραγματικότητα στους δείκτες, ή θεωρούμε την υπάρχουσα κατάσταση αζής και ψάχνουμε λύσεις για να το βελτιώσουμε.
Η υπάρχουσα κατάσταση, όπως σου είπα, είναι εν μέρει βασισμένη με υπολογισμούς, οπότε έχει ένα περιθώριο σφάλματος. Μπορούμε να την πάρουμε σαν αφετηρία. Αυτό όμως που θα θέλαμε σίγουρα, αν μπορούμε να καταφέρουμε, είναι να έχουμε πραγματικά δεδομένα και σε αυτό το χρόνο και μετά με την παρακολούθηση και σε μελλοντικό.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Παρακαλώ.
I couldn't hear the translation, so if you can summarize for me, especially if you something else for me.
We would like to have real data.
Okay. We have a picture about the carbon footprint of our city, but it is based on partly on calculations, on some indicators and index and the calculations. So what we would like to know is our footprint based on real data gathered from any kind of activity and infrastructure in the city. So this would be preferable, so we can know the current status, and then we can monitor the future status.
Thank you.
Κάποιος άλλος ερώτηση, question?
Any other questions?
There is Petros on online that is asking to talk.
Okay, hello everyone. I wanted to ask, maybe it's already been answered, but I wanted to ask, is this about, or is this about a monitoring, evaluating, and applying solution project? That is to say, because as I understand it, you're looking for a system to monitor online on real-time situations, the CO2 footprint, and then are you asking for cost-effective solutions from the same companies that will apply the monitoring, or from different companies, and you will be evaluating the data? How will it be done? Maybe it's already been answered, but I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
We are looking for self-standing solutions.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no connection with other systems in place or that should be deployed, apart from what already exists in the City Hall in terms of ERP systems. So it would make sense that the data generated by this solution doesn't become part of the existing collection of data in the City Hall ERP system. But apart from this interoperability, there is no chain of solutions you should bear in mind. With the limited budget, a low-cost, self-standing solution is the target of this call.
Okay, I see. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Άλλος ερώτηση? Αν δεν υπάρχει άλλη ερώτηση, θα μπορούσαμε να περάσουμε και στο μέρος όπου κάποιες υπηρεσίες...
No other questions. We can proceed to the part of some proposals already prepared by some companies, by some enterprises. May we start from the first one? Mr. Johannes Kieser.
Είναι shared screen. Μόνο. Πατάω παρακάτω. Οκ. Εντάξει. Ελληνικά ή αγγλικά
English or Greek? You tell me.
Μια κλασική παρουσίαση.
This is a classic presentation we often do about cities. We offer consultation to the cities. We have an experience of 23 years. And we make a segregation of the biological and the technical cycle. We work with plants, nature-based solutions. We also use the phytochemics of plants and the transformation from petrol-based to bio-based circular systems. We have run, since we started very early with circular economy in 2003, 2005, when we started, there was no market back then. And we proceeded to research projects, and we have been running this kind of research projects for 23 years, but more and more we work with consultation. We work with bioeconomy. This is a project about regions, entire areas where we see what is the existing, who are the stakeholders, what are the existing technologies, and how we make it, we create a loop in order for people to have all products and to create all products needed by people to be created by biomass source. We use nature-based solutions. We use biomass, and all this helps the ecosystem and the cities, but these things are well known. And we have also CO2 reduction. We work with Napoli, with Athens, with Vienna, with Oslo, with many cities. We have created pilot projects, and there are many benefits to these nature-based solutions. Okay, if we can have a look at the slide. If you have a combination with photovoltaics, you can increase efficiency. We have also worked with Sponge City, where you absorb rainwater in the city through various ways. And there are already existing solutions. We don't have to make a lot of research and to produce new solutions. It is almost ready. A very good project I would like to mention, applied in Greece on the islands of Tinos, Lesbos, and Mykonos, is the project Hydrousa. A central part of the Hydrousa project is that we use the rainwater in a village of Lesbos, Addissa, 300 inhabitants in wintertime, and 300 in wintertime, 3,000 in the summer due to tourism. So we send this rainwater to a biomass plant. Here we have the raw water, and we make an upgrade of biomethane and an application to a waste collection vehicle. And now the municipality of Lesbos works with biogas from rainwater. Then we have construction. The waste, the liquid waste is cleaned, and then we send it to an agriforestal area. We have many different plants together, and we follow the slogan wastewater to food and biodiversity. We create products for the area and for the whole of the island, together in cooperation with a women's association on the island of Lesbos. Goji berries, etc. They also export these products. We have 3 times more production with this water as compared to the normal water. We understood that biodiversity is increased by using these solutions. Here we have a conventional sea and lakes. We have a vertical raft. It is a system where we send the water to a raft, and up there are roots, the plants, and an absorbent, and we extract the over-nutrients, fertilizers, etc., in order to prevent eutrophication. We make nutrient removal. On a large scale, we try this in lakes or in sediments. We can also extract heavy metals and organic compounds. We clean big extensions with serious problems. This is another solution that it could fit here. TRL 5-6, nutrient runoff capture directly in the fields. When we have runoff, if we have strong water events, we create a point where the water goes and where will we apply the nutrient removement, there's a filter to capture, to reuse it, so they don't end up in the lakes or in the sea. A similar system was applied in a building. It is very interesting, in my opinion. We also produced heat from compost. We use these panes, these glass panes, we remove them from another building and we use them. So it is feasible, it is not theory. In a building, you can do decoupling and provide other services with that building. Another very good application we are applying in Vienna is a self-sufficient toilet. It collects rainwater, it stores it, and can be used up to 150 times a day. It recycles it by itself. It is filtered with the plants, and the plants are very happy, and they grow very nicely. These were existing toilets, but they can be built in a restaurant, for example, in order to teach people, to educate people what nature, what plants can do for us. What we do in all our projects is to place sensors and to make automation. This is simple. All European projects can achieve that. If you put it in a PLC, as in Zoumerka, as people in Zoumerka did, they used a boat that enters the lake and it measures through sensors, and you have a PLC, a small computer, it stores the data, and it is easy existing technology. In Vienna, another very nice project that is very suitable for waste questions are circularity hubs. So it is Vienna has a strategic vision to have them up to 2030, elaborating quantities and availabilities of all waste streams. Who are the regional stakeholders? What are the available conversion technologies? How you can metabolize them? This is very beautiful because it is said within existing infrastructure, and you use vacant places. There's another important scheme is public-private people partnerships. People become part of the solution. Greening Athens is a new project. with the project. The responsible for the project is Leniomi Rivili. We drafted a project of 130 pages of how to use green solutions in the city, where you store the water, what are the connections, etc., etc. I'll show you two examples: ultra dense forests in cities with a lot of biodiversity. It helps in many solutions. Then we have bioengineering for lakes, and you use biomaterials, stones or twigs or trees to stabilize slopes or to store water, and green solutions after some time. So they become green by themselves. And where the slope would create slides, you see that it solidifies the soil. To follow three strategic pathways: circular, nature-based, and participatory. These are the solutions needed for social transformations that everybody is looking for, and will be happy to present our proposal for the challenge of Ioannina. Thank you very much. Your presentation was really very interesting. Is there any other company and other organization that would like to present their possible solution through the platform?
Can you hear us? Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to make a presentation, to present any proposal, any kind of solution, any delegate of a company?
Presentation with a representative of a company with their solutions or proposals?
Good morning. My name is Kardatsis Nikolos from the EU-based company that is responsible for the technological park. We are a spin-off company based on the University of Ioannina. We have developed a solution that right now is in the productive phase and includes three systems: the PIDM, the platform SolarEye, for monitoring photovoltaics. Right now, we have more than 1,000 photovoltaics running that are allocated all over the world. Through a model of artificial intelligence, we have their monitoring and we see their operation in real time. The second platform has to do with the energy monitoring of buildings, their footprint, and the automations created, so we can find the consumption rate, measure consumption rate, so that we have reduction of the carbon footprint. We have the well-known Amazon Alexa, and the third platform that monitors the quality of air, the quality of water, of soil, and the quality of other elements of smart cities, for example, the level of chloride, etc. In essence, this started as a European project, monitoring in Bergsen, in the lighthouse, and in Sayana, in Thesprotia, and monitoring of the pollution created around the various cages that and the grids that have to do with the production of fish. From then on, now we have a great number of sensors covering a wide range of scope. With regard to the challenge, I would like to say that there has to be a proposal and an approach that would cover multiple data and not the elements of a specific space only, for example, the lake, and ignore the rest of the city. I will mention an example. If one makes measurements on the lake, we will see the level of methane or a carbon footprint, but also we have other problems from gas emissions coming from other cities. This is something ignored by many citizens of Ioannina who walk in the lake side area, whereas this area during winter, with the compassion taking place at various spots of the municipality, they end up in that space, and instead of improving their operation, they produce higher rates of pollution. So our approach is a holistic approach of the city. That's what we would like to propose. And I think the municipality should analyze multiple big data, because there is no point in studying and analyzing data on only a specific area. For example, analyzing data in around the lake, but we have to be more open-minded and make measurements, expand these in other areas. In this way, we can take data from here and create an application, for example, for patients that suffer from asthma or heart problems. And during this period, or when we have high pollution rates, they shouldn't walk around the lake. So giving a specific suggestions. Thank you very much. I would like to ask the project based on which your platform, what is it, was see on a jeep, and in essence, there would be sensors in a floatable base attached on the capes of aquacultures, and measures in real time the pollution of the water while fish grow, or from the produced from the operation of the aquaculture. So you have your platform ready. Is it available somewhere where we can see? Yes, you can find it on our website. Another platform is called solarai.eu. It's around the same cloud. And the third platform is Nest Time LView, about monitoring building facilities, buildings. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to take the floor? Any delegate from any other company who would like to make a proposal, propose some solutions? If there is no other company delegate, I think Francesco could say a few words about the challenges of other cities. Matteo, I will give the floor to Matteo. Sorry.
Okay, I'm here again. Just give me 2 seconds. Yes, then as you, heard from Francesco, and as you probably have understood too, we have like quite a number of, we have other 7 cities that are working on other challenges. As I explained at the beginning of the project, when I made the general presentation, I explained that we divided the cities into big groups, let's say. Then the first one that is about energy and mobility, that having maybe what challenges, and then pilots later on that represent something a bit more classical, let's say, that I'm trying to make. Okay, and then the cities that are Sofia, Differdange, Grenoble, and then I'm losing the last one. I'm sorry, and Athens. I'm sorry. Work on. Let's say there is two different type of big groups. The first one is about mobility. Is Sofia that is working on a problem that is very spread around Europe, that is, or the world, I would say, about traffic in cities. But in Sofia, apparently, this is a bit worse than in other places, in the sense that today the share of cars is still 40%. That is quite high. And then they would like the share of cars to be reduced at least of half. Then what they identified as a potential solution is to support the paid parking. I mean, to reduce the occupancy rates of the paid parking, in particular in the hypercenter, at least at the beginning, then maybe later on on a larger area. But for now, that's like this. Then they want to somehow to track and also to get the data about the cars that are getting and are parking in the area. By the way, less or more they define the period of data collection of at least 1 month in a particular area that is well identified, to define the patterns, and also they want to this application to support and to check if there is any violation. That's another point. Now, then we have a second part of other three, at least 3 cities that are much more related to mostly energy, let's say, and with 3 scenarios that are quite, or challenges that are quite different but similar at the same time. The first one is the city of Differdange. For the ones that don't know, as I didn't used to know since a year ago, it's Luxembourg. It's a city from Luxembourg. A city from Luxembourg that is the only one part of the famous mission. And they have an ambitious objective, is to produce locally 100% of the electricity, at least the one for private. I mean, maybe not taking into consideration industry, but everything else. To do so, somehow they want to exploit the big industrial areas that they have, because for the ones that don't know, Differdange is one of the cities in which there was like quite big heavy industry about steel. Then using that part, then somehow the businesses should support the city, giving availability to their fields that are unused today, and at the same time making sure that citizens can participate, then funding their own solar panels. By the way, they would become their own solar panels, and then participating. In this, there is an important part that is about the engagement and also the democratization, let's say, of this kind of instrument, because part of the population of Differdange is has a lot of nationalities, a lot of people. It's very international, and then they need they have socially very big differences, and then they need also the people that are not able to buy a whole bunch of solar panels to be able to participate anyway. Then they need also some solidarity mechanism part of this. Then the other solution in Athens, mostly they want to work on behavioral change, but a lot on energy. They have also part of mobility, also because one of the biggest problems in Athens, and I think that Ioannina, you know that very well, are heat waves, and they consider is an excessive use of energy also for private use. Then they want really to stimulate people, and in this case, the part of mobile application, stimulate people to improve really their pattern and their behaviors. Also hope, or I mean, in anything is very private. Then they need some, as you can read in the slide, also some mechanism next to the data part, obviously, but we have also gamification or solution that can support the local aspects. And then to end this hub, we have Grenoble. In this case, to make sure to explain it well, Grenoble is not the city of Grenoble, it's the urban agglomeration. Then or the metropolitan area, if you want to call it like that, depends by country. Then it's like we talk about almost 50 municipalities as 100,000 people as a part, and their problem is their soil is getting drier and drier, and it has this artificialization process that is doubling since it's double than in other places, similar place. That means that in the alpine area, the heating is creating much more problem than it happens in other places. And then they need to understand better this, and to do so they need a system that is somehow triple, in the sense that you need first to provide the data, then getting the data, understanding the data about the soil, showing the data, also to explain better to people, and concluding, I would say there is also an awareness raising part. Then they want to understand. And this should allow them also to model and to make some to understand what will be the evolution later on. Now, getting to the Ioannina, if my slides collaborate, to the Ioannina hub, in which you saw Ioannina has its own very interesting and particular challenge. The other three cities, and here we will go very fast because they're working on very similar scenarios. They all work on waste and circularity, but starting from waste and getting to circularity, let's say. And what they need is mostly data system allowing them first to have new data, but also to work further on the definition and the improvement of the system of collection. Mostly Torino, in this case, that is working on textile, and WEEE is electric and electronic waste, making sure that the population starts also following more the indications and the support. Then they need first to understand through data what is exactly the bottleneck, what is not allowing people to do so. Obviously, there is also an important awareness raising and communication part, but they want to go on that. And the following two, here we have Cascais, these are Cascais and Maribor, are doing less or more the same thing. They have less or more the same need, but Cascais wants mostly to work on textile as a use case. And again, they want to collaborate, and in the both cases, and for Maribor it will be the same, is really to involve all the stakeholders that can play a role in this. It's important to say that in the three cities, and the third one is, and to conclude, Maribor is the third one, and they are mostly, and they're more interested in the same thing, but with bio-waste. In the three cases, what is very important is the waste companies are involved. In Cascais directly, because it's directly also the partner of the project. In the other two, anyway, the city is involved. Then they will be involved, and they will be participating and supporting also the solution providers, obviously, in defining the setup. And then, okay, you've heard about Ioannina, and for sure it's not me the best person to talk about this. Then I'm done. Obviously, if you want to participate to the last two, because the last two Premier Market consultations, this is the 6th one. We're almost over. Next week on next Monday afternoon, next Wednesday afternoon, we will have the cities of Differdange and Maribor. Then again, as I said, quite different scenarios. One is on waste, the other one is on energy, but both on digital solutions, data visualization. Then if you are interested, you're very welcome. You just need to register as you did today. And I'm done. Thank you. If you have questions, I'm here.
Αν δεν υπάρχουν ερωτήσεις...
No other questions. Matteo.
There are a couple of questions in the...
are there questions?
Questions. There are a couple of people, Mike Kaminiaris, you excuse my Greek pronunciation. May I please have a couple of minutes to present a solution after Matteo's presentation? And Petros somehow is saying the same thing. He talks about 10 minutes. 10 minutes is a bit too much. But if you have a couple of minutes, I think that, I don't know if, Christina, if it's fine for you, we can give them the floor to have a couple of minutes, please. Don't.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, in my very brief presentation, I would like to introduce again Greece. We mainly develop ICT and IoT solutions for agriculture, the environment, and smart cities. So within this framework, we have developed an IoT node that is a small device of 10 centimeters, more or less. It is used with a small photovoltaic panel that makes it energy autonomous, and it supports automations and through actuators and real-time monitoring. It's a plug-and-play, low-cost device, and it supports connectivity through a SIM card, an integrated SIM card. And up to now, we support a list of more than 80 different sensors that can be connected to this device, such as weather stations for environmental monitoring, air quality sensors for PM for different gases, ground quality measurements, water quality, water quantity measurements, and different further sensors for energy meter, flow meters, manometers, etc. So we also support in terms of actuators, relays, and electrovalves to support automation in hydraulic and electrical circuits. And we also have, of course, developed by us the corresponding platform, which is, let's say, a backend for the city hall, and then different customizable applications for the end users, the citizens, or the people that will have access to this data. Up to now, it has been used in circular economy approaches for irrigation with alternative water sources, such as harvested rainwater or treated wastewater, etc. More or less, in very similar ways of water monitoring in different cities. Our main, let's say, client is Trikala city, which is the most innovative city in Greece, where they use our system to control both the urban lighting and to monitor the environmental parameters in the city with weather stations. In terms of agriculture, we use our IoT node in greenhouses, open field agriculture, in research, in Trikala, in greenhouses and vegetable, let's say, urban gardens to irrigate them and monitor them in the city, in schools, etc. Moreover, TOEV, they use also, it's the national authorities for controlling water for irrigation. They use our system to control the water in their canals in terms of water management. And we also use this system to detect fire as the sensors that can be connected support the carbon dioxide and different sensors that can help in fire, let's say, identification. Of course, APIs and different structures for fair data, transferable, etc., are accessible. Thank you very much for this time.
Εμείς ευχαριστούμε.
We thank you. I think there was someone else who wanted to take the floor.
That's Petros. Petros with the name, family name, it's too complicated for me, but Petros.
Okay. Can I be heard now? Is it okay if I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I will be sharing my screen. Please let me know if you can see it. Okay. So, are you with me?
Yes. Can you put it in presentation mode?
Yes.
Full screen, I mean.
Okay. Okay, here it is. I will be talking in very fast for a short presentation of our company. I wasn't prepared to do this, but as I'm listening to you all speaking about it, maybe there could be some solutions for you to think and for us.
Petros, sorry to interrupt you, but we still see the background mode, so probably it makes sense that you go to the editing mode and use the left bar to scroll through the slides, because the slide is big enough, even in this way. There is a problem of interoperability, probably compatibility with Zoom.
Okay.
Okay.
You mean just like this?
Yes, do like this, and we see the next slide.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry.
So basically, what our company does, we are a manufacturer of precast concrete products. At first, you may hear concrete and you may think, okay, how green can concrete be? Concrete is getting greener every day, and we are one of the pioneers in Greece that are going to implement this. We are already underway. We are coming back. We're coming from a long way back, from the 60s and so on. So we had first quarries of aggregates for the building construction, and then we are producing concrete flooring such as paving blocks and terrazzo tiles and concrete paving flags. Of course, we are fully quality control our products, and we have a lab to control the products and the factory. What the company is doing now, we are turning into sustainability, trying to make our concrete sustainable. We're trying to produce products which are for the urban environment. The most interesting product for your project here is our green products that can be seen on the right. We have water permeable products. We have also photocatalytic and cool products. I will explain shortly what these products are. Now, this is our eco drain system. This is for water management, and with climate change, it can prove to be a very useful product. I think you're all familiar with this type of products, and you're also all familiar with the urban heat island in the cities. We are producing products with cool and reflective properties, and we're also the first company in Greece that are producing eco-active products that do not products that serve to the depollution of the atmosphere from the nitrates and nitric oxides. And we are the first company to do this, producing products that have incorporated in the mass titanium dioxide, photocatalytic titanium dioxide. And at present, you can see on the right a project in a tunnel of Crete with a photocatalytic paint. At present, we are working in a project in Athens, in municipality of Ioannina, where we have installed and we have started to install photocatalytic paving blocks. Let me see if I can show you some pictures of that.
I'm sorry, Petros, may I ask you a question?
Yes.
How can what you're proposing be useful for the challenge in Ioannina or the other cities?
Sorry?
May I ask you how this can help Ioannina or the other cities that I just introduced?
Because the photocatalytic products produce oxygen that holds back the CO2 from the atmosphere. It's an
No, but
anti-pollution.
I understand that it can help climate neutrality as a whole. But I'm
Yes.
asking on the specific challenges that we have.
Yes, it is not a monitoring technique. It's not about monitoring. It's about implementation of the evaluation of the results of the monitoring. That is why I said, I thought it was only monitoring. So that is why I said, I don't know if it may interest you. So I didn't want to keep you long.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right. This is it. Okay. I will not be tiring you anymore.
No, but that's fine. No, that's fine. That's
Okay.
fine. I was just asking because I'm not technical guy. Then I was.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. This is it. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that you need to stop sharing your screen.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Christina, you can take the lead again. I don't know where you are. I don't see. Because I see twice Petros.
Δεν υπάρχει κάποιος άλλος, υποθέτω. Άρα να μπορούμε να συνοψίσουμε. Θέλεις, Άννα,
θα ήθελα και πάλι να σας ευχαριστήσω όλους για την παρουσία σας και για τη συνεισφορά σας να πραγματοποιηθεί αυτή η εκδήλωση. Ευχαριστώ τον Ματέο, ευχαριστώ τον Φραντζέσκο και όλους όσους μας βοήθησαν για να γίνει αυτή η εκδήλωση. Θεωρώ ότι ήταν επιτυχής. Ελπίζουμε σε μια συνεργασία με όλους, με κάποιους από εσάς στο μέλλον. Τα χρονοδιαγράμματα σας τα είπε ο Φραντσέσκο. Θα επανέλθουμε φυσικά και με mail. Οπότε να σας ευχηθώ.
Emails and let me wish you a happy summer. Let me say that this event will be on YouTube, which means that if you haven't understood something, you can come back to it. So we'll produce a video and our municipality will publish this meeting, the recording of this meeting with subtitles. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Matteo.
Thank you.
And thank you, Francesco.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.